Hello and welcome to Comms Business Live. Today we're talking about the growing opportunity channel companies have to support their customers in developing hybrid working models. And I'm delighted to be joined by Andrew Bale, General Manager of Cloud Services at Tango Networks. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
Hi, Charlotte. Thank you so much for your time. Good to be here with you.
Thanks for joining us. So the pandemic has disrupted all of our day-to-day lives, reshaping how we live, how we work. And now that offices are finally reopening, the majority of businesses are saying that they're going to operate hybrid models going forwards. Employees in this setup will be expected to work part of the time in the office and the other part from home or other locations. As companies embrace these new ways of working, their technology needs are going to, of course, change in line with that. So Andrew, with many businesses adopting these hybrid working practices, what technologies are you seeing as being in demand right now?
Well, Charlotte, I think we're all so aware of how our lives have been affected by the pandemic, but also how our lives have been made easier, how it's been easier getting through the pandemic because of the communications technologies available to us. I don't know how any of us would have survived the last 2 years without internet-based communications, internet-based training. Our kids, can they have got through the last couple of years without online teaching with all of its shortcomings and so forth? And we're all absolutely aware at this point of how these technologies of online communications, broad, high quality, multimedia, able to talk live to one another, have transformed how we've worked. In my own business, over the past 2 years, we've set up new relationships. We've hired new people into the business. We've established new service offerings over the last 2 years without any of us ever being able actually to be in the same room with one another. Quite an extraordinary thing. If you predicted even 3 or 4 years ago the ability for businesses to work entirely online, I think you would have not really got many takers for that bid. But now we're moving back into a world where some of the things we've lost over the last 2 years, the ability actually to be face to face with one another, to work closely alongside, the things that really make businesses shine, which are those opportunities for people to mentor one another, to work alongside one another, to learn informally. Those things just haven't happened over the past 2 years. And hybrid working really is, how do we bring together in an effective fashion the skills of working remotely and the skills of working together. And the most powerful technologies are available to us to do that today. And those really are the mobile technologies, which allow us to take these sophisticated collaboration tools and use them wherever we want. Definitely. The mobile network is the most extraordinary machine that mankind has ever built. The global mobile network is the biggest and most complex communications tool we've ever had, and businesses need to learn how to use that effectively.
And how can channel partners respond to kind of this growing demand for mobile business services?
Well, I think the first thing is that historically, it's been almost impossible for either our partners or in fact end customers to actually have much input into mobile services. This fantastically powerful network has been a closed box. The mobile operators have basically built the same thing for my 17-year-old son as they've built for the chief executive of Barclays. And my son uses it for playing games and watching videos, and that's not what the chief executive of Barclays wants his people to use their mobile phones for. So a new breed of mobile technologies are appearing, which are far more open, which actually allow the integration of mobile natively, using all of this fantastic capability of the mobile network, allow integration into a customer's environment. And that requires the channel partner to be involved. It requires new forms of systems integration, the integration of mobile services into enterprise IT environments, which of course increasingly are moving to online web-based services. So there's this fantastic opportunity, which is really at an early stage of development, for channel partners who've historically sold, legacy communications, desk phones, a little bit of conferencing and so forth, to participate in this tsunami of new web-based, mobile-first services that are coming to market.
And the devices that employees will be using as they kind of make these changes will, of course, change. You've touched on that briefly there with kind of the mention of desk phones and the like. What opportunities do you think there are for channel partners to help guide their customers through this so that they are selecting the devices that make the most sense for what their business needs?
Well, I think there's two parts to that. One is that actually there's some really exciting technologies coming to market at the moment in the mobile space, which allow for a true move towards bring your own device and enterprise provided services. That's been a really difficult market for a long time because of the diversity of mobile devices and the inability to support multiple communications services on a single device. But with the appearance of eSIM, the ability for a second SIM to be downloaded over the internet, over the air, to a mobile phone. So you've got both your personal line and your business line on the same device, and that those are well managed within the Apple and Android ecosystem. We have the opportunity for channel partners to build solutions which can be very quickly applied to an employee's own phone. So that's one type of business model, the bring your own device model. And I think eSIM and the ability to utilize modern advanced devices with these sort of multi-SIM capabilities will be transformative to the way that businesses allow their employees to use their own personal services, their own personal devices, but have very secure business communications applied to those devices. Second part of the market, which Gartner sees as quite a significant market, the provision of a phone by a business to their employee. Gartner see about 30% of employees being given a phone. That market absolutely requires a strong ecosystem of devices, and it's quite difficult for enterprises to decide on the right sort of devices. So an end-to-end view of the market, the availability of devices, the appropriateness of BYOD compared to enterprise provided devices, security audit across the end-to-end, looking at the security of BYOD compared to corporate provided devices, will provide a good model for consulting revenue for our channel partners in selling into the enterprise sector.
And these broad shifts that you've discussed there with the growth of mobile and soft phone use inevitably kind of raises the question on what that means for traditional desk phones. So what are your thoughts there? What do you think this shift is going to mean for those devices that we used to all have on our desks?
Well, I think first of all, the market is going to be quite a lot different in the future than it was. Historically, most enterprises had some flexible working, but really it was a secondary item. Some hot desk working, but hot desking hasn't really worked very well. So by and large, everybody knew where their desk was, and it was worthwhile having a good communications device on that desk. In many cases, video enabled and so forth. Quite expensive, quite costly. But the reality now is that even companies that are strongly encouraging people to come back to work recognize that most of their work will not be done at one known owned position in a company. We all work, some from home, sometimes from a Starbucks coffee shop. We work. I took a video call with a very strategic partner from my car, parked up as I was, I have to say. But I was parked in a motorway service station because I wasn't able to get to the end of my journey, and had a 2-hour conference call with a very important partner, and I can't be using a sort of secondary communication service under those circumstances. The business has to make sure that those mobile communications environments are the best tools that I can use. Now, if I have the best tool I can use when I'm in my car, I can pick that up, and of course I'll just put it on my desk. I don't need another device there. So I think what we end with is those devices that are not mobile are really restricted to quite specific work styles. Maybe there is a contact center environment, a help desk environment, a video help desk environment, why not? Which will still be a market for that's my workplace and I need it to be activated. But I think by and large, for most of us, the need to have one desk, which has one set of IT provided facilities, is gone. And therefore, other than mobile devices, laptops, tablets, mobile phones, I think we are in the post-desk phone era quite strongly.
And one element that's probably worth bringing in here is that in the past, it has been difficult for companies to integrate kind of employee mobile phone usage with kind of their corporate calling system. Can this new generation of fixed mobile convergence technologies help address that kind of once and for all?
Oh, absolutely, yes. So yes, a modern FMC-driven mobile communication service starts from the enterprise controls and builds out from there. So the enterprise controls inherent in some of the modern collaboration platforms are very powerful, very scalable, highly tailorable, highly customizable, with great compliance controls, integration into applications, integration into CRM, integration into recording and compliance platforms. And that really has to be the start. A mobile phone is really just a way of getting access to business critical applications. And historically, it was all over the internet. A mobile phone is just a computer with an insecure internet connection associated with it. Now, we want to turn that on its head. We want to drive from the enterprise applications out and ensure that a mobile phone is a secure endpoint for those communication services. And that's where fixed mobile convergence comes in. The ability to deliver something where the mobile network at its heart integrates every call, every data package, every text that's driven from the unified communications and collaboration solution rather than the other way around. So absolutely, that's what modern FMC starts with as a premise, and that's where it delivers.
So from all of this discussion, I think what a lot of resellers listening might be thinking is that it might be time to revamp their offerings to ensure that they're providing customers with the technologies that their business is going to need kind of today, in 3 months' time, in 5 years' time. What would you say to a reseller who's kind of watching and considering bringing mobile into their portfolio?
What I would say to them is imagine a world in 5 years where you're not part of the mobile economy, and you're probably not imagining a world where your business survives. I think we're all well aware that most of our personal communications happens on mobile devices. Increasingly, our business communications happens on mobile devices, and our partners who are providing us with services needs to be part of what I'm buying. Otherwise, there's a marginalization that's going to occur.
Definitely. So that brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks so much for sharing your thoughts with us. So much there for channel companies to really think about in terms of how they're going to help their customers work out what they need in this new hybrid world. As we've heard, a mobile phone can help an employee to engage in business critical communications in places and settings where what they might have been using 5 years ago or 18 months ago are no longer kind of practical or fit for use. What's more, some organisations are even considering kind of this mobile only world. So a great mobile offering is really going to be a vital string to every reseller's bow. If anyone watching wants to find out more about Tango Networks and how it works with its partners, there's some links in the video description that will point you into the right direction. But Andrew, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Charlotte, thank you so much. Good to talk to you.
You too. And thanks everyone at home. Have a good rest of your day.
Have a nice day, folks.